I'd like to continue our journey looking at two very important traditions, the Buddhist tradition and the Christian tradition, and looking at them in terms of how they deal with happiness and suffering and joy and mourning and sorrow, some of the challenges of life. Um, we're taking a little bit of a look at hedonic happiness, the idea of seeking the pleasure, the hedonist who seeks pleasure. And certainly that leads to moments of intense happiness. We see it many times with people that they're enjoying a good meal or a good film, or this is a good thing that they're experiencing. But eudaimonic happiness is a different type of happiness. And this is a happiness more rooted in the Buddhist and the Christian traditions. And where does that happiness come from? It comes from self-understanding, reflecting on who we are, getting a sense of our identity. And out of that self-understanding comes our meaning in life, the things in our lives that are very meaningful, that we kind of form our lives around, whether it's creation of family, whether it's building a certain institution in our community, whether it's helping to alleviate a situation of injustice. Those things in our lives that build meaning, those things that we would say are important to us, significant in our life. And that flows from our understanding of who we are as a person. What are my values? What do I want to accomplish in my life? What would I like to achieve? And that sense of eudaimonic happiness, uh, that self-understanding, that deeper meaning in life, leads to growth. Because as we are looking at that meaning, we tend to challenge ourselves and say, well, am I living up to my values? Am I living up to what I said was my true meaning in life? Well, my meaning in life is to help others. Well, am I doing that enough? Are my efforts significant? Could I be improving? Where is the personal growth that I need to achieve that meaning? Maybe I need to develop different skills, maybe even linguistically, adding another language to help other people who are in our community who are struggling, who don't know too much about our community and they come from a different culture and have a different language. Maybe that's part of my growth that I need to achieve in my life. Maybe I need another skill. And maybe in our life, in our community, there's a big problem with opiates and overdose. Well, maybe I could learn a bit about that situation and be of some assistance to people so that they are not walking that difficult road alone by themselves and they feel that nobody cares and nobody is there for me and nobody is willing to help or to assist me. And finally, after that self-understanding that comes out of our Christian and Buddhist traditions, our sense of meaning and the personal growth that we need to achieve that. Finally, there comes an acceptance of who we are, an acceptance of the talents that we have been given, acceptance of how I can be of assistance to other people on their journeys and make their life more meaningful. All of these things add up to eudaimonic happiness, which is not fleeting. The hedonistic happiness is great, it's wonderful, but it seems very temporary. Whereas the eudaimonic happiness, that's something that I carry with me. That's something that's always present in my life. That's something that doesn't change. That's something that I'm just growing into deeper and deeper and deeper. So instead of being fleeting, it's always with me. In the Buddhist tradition, sadness and grief comes from a great loss. When we think about it, when we think about a moment where we're truly sad, where we have been grieving, usually those moments are intertwined with a sense of loss. Loss of a good friend, loss of a job, loss of maybe a value that I once held dearly and deeply. And that loss in our Buddhist tradition can be used as a motivation. And it can help me to generate a deeper sense of purpose. Yes, I've experienced this loss and I'm sad. But how can this loss in my life lead to something deeper? We see it all the time around us. We see where someone has lost a child, a parent, and they start a fundraiser. Maybe they lost somebody due to cancer. And all of a sudden they get their friends together and people in the community and they are raising funds for research to help find a cure for cancer. Or maybe they've lost a child due to suicide. So they say, well, what can we do? Well, maybe we can form a group of parents who have lost a child to suicide. And we can help other parents who are struggling with this very, very difficult issue. We always say with suicide, it is not so much the person themselves because they were in acute distress and under psychological pressure. It is those that have been left behind that are suffering deep pain. And when they can meet with people who have experienced that loss and that pain and who know it and understand it, it can be very helpful. It can offer true support to them. So there can be loss, yes, and it can be very hurtful and difficult. But out of that loss can come this deeper sense of purpose where I can reach out to others and help others, form a deeper sense of community and a bonding with others that will make their loss, yes, it's difficult and painful, but it will make it a little bit easier because others are sharing that burden with them.